State leaders are responding to threats from the White House to deny federal funding to sanctuary cities and their states starting next month. President Trump says the move is targeting places resisting federal immigration enforcement. Jennifer Hoff is live at the state capitol with more on how this might impact Minnesotans. Jennifer?
Julie, we know the state gets anywhere from $18 billion to $21 billion every year in state funding, but without any clear communication, Trump's announcement is really putting a lot of people in limbo once again.
We are here today.
Minnesota leaders pushing back against President Trump's latest plan to cut off federal resources to states he says are resisting his immigration policies. Advocates worry put the most vulnerable at risk.
Why should everyday Americans pay the price and suffer due to the actions of those committing fraud?
Starla Shadobi is a longtime home care worker, part of the state's Medicaid program that receives a bulk of federal funding, already under scrutiny for widespread fraud. The administration says it's also withholding $2 billion in annual funds for Minnesota.
Withholding funds from Medicaid programs could cause a health care crisis.
The state's Medicaid director says he's already implemented new guardrails. The feds calling that inadequate.
We're not paying Minnesota any more money for that, any of that crap.
Even if there is a finding of non-compliance, the withholding must be based on specific findings from a review.
The state gets upwards of $21 billion of federal funding every year. The Departments of Transportation and Education receiving a lot of that too. But it's unclear what services Trump's latest plan would impact.
Every dollar of federal funds that we lose represents a loss of services to Minnesotans, whether that's because the state needs to fill in the gap and cut somewhere else to do so, or because it's a funding source that we just no longer have.
The budget director says it's already tracking $700 million in disrupted or canceled federal funds, and tapping any of the state's general fund isn't an option.
Continue to protest Minnesota. Continue to stand up for what you believe in.
And this is the third attempt by the president to try to freeze federal funding to states like Minnesota. However, the two other times that this has happened, the courts have already struck that down. All of this is coming too as the U.S. Department of Agriculture has announced that it plans to freeze about $130 million in grants to Minnesota. If that happens, that will no doubt impact SNAP benefits as well as poultry testing for some farmers who are dealing with bird flu. So again, there are still a lot of questions tonight and answers that we don't have. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer.